I just ordered the HIKEIT throttle controller for my TC. It's normally marketed towards cheap owners, but I saw some people had good results with it in their cars. We can see the various throttle curves you can set with it here on back. Let's look inside the box. Let's see, this is the black faceplate that I ordered. It looks like it just sticks on top of the controller. Here is the controller itself with some cable. This part is the actual brains of the unit, and it plugs on top of the accelerator pedal. So you've got alcohol wipes here to help aid in cleaning the dash for installation. I've got a zip tie here. We've got cute, a keychain that looks like the controller. Some decals that say HIKEIT. Looks like there's a pair of them in here. Let's see, we've got the instruction manual. So it looks like it's got some installation notes and functions. I'll look at that later. Another zip tie. And at the very bottom, if I can get it out. Come on. Come on. Here we are. It looks like installation instructions. So a very complete kit. Alright, let's have a closer look at the controller here. Okay, so wow, this thing is really small, and it looks like it includes 3M mounting tape on the back already. Alright, let's look at the faceplate. I should probably grab a pair of scissors, but too late now. Just gotta be careful not to accidentally bend it here. Alright, so it's actually a thick piece of plastic. It looks exactly the same as the cover on the controller itself. So, and it's a perfect fit. Alright, now let's take a look at the brains. Alright, so this is what actually does all of the processing work, and it's going to plug in on top of the accelerator pedal. Let's see, so here we go. So you got one plug that goes to the pedal and one that goes to the ECU, and then this goes to the controller. Let's take a look at the graph on the back of the box. It's a little small, so I'll load it up on the computer. We can see we've got the economy mode here, which is actually going to accelerate slower than if it was off. We have cruise mode, which has the initial acceleration as if it was off, but then improves after 20% throttle. Sport mode, which has a more aggressive curve all the way from the beginning. And then HIKEIT mode, which has a very aggressive curve. I'm underneath the dash. This is the top of the accelerator pedal. I'm just going to unclip this harness here. And there you go. And I'm going to plug the HIKEIT right in between, so right on top. Here's what it should look like when it's installed. I'm just going to temporarily secure the wires here because I want to test it out before I actually run the wires up behind the dash. So far, so good. First thing we're going to do is hold the down button here for a few seconds to change this from automatic to manual transmission mode. The A will become an H when it's in manual mode. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the HIKEIT turned off, and then I'm going to push the mode button once to set it to HIKEIT mode 9. Yeah, that makes a difference. Now that I know that it works, I've secured the wires underneath the dash carefully, trying to follow other existing wires and avoiding anything that moves. And I have it popping up out here where the side view mirror controls are. I designed and printed this mount for the HIKEIT. I'll put a link in the video description below, but it's going to mount up right here, and then the controller is going to stick on top of it. I designed the mount to be the same size as the 3M tape on the back of the controller. Clean the trim well with alcohol before mounting it, and you can really put it anywhere you want. I really like this location though. Let's cycle through the display. We've got automatic, we got HIKEIT mode, back to auto, economy, off, cruise, sport, HIKEIT again, back to automatic. So I have the Orange Virus tuner installed, and that already has a throttle lag reduction map. So I'm going to be using lower settings on my HIKEIT compared to someone with a stock ECU. Otherwise, it would be too aggressive. So one of the things I do like a lot about the HIKEIT is that I can adjust it for the situation. So if it's nice and sunny out, I'll I'll put it in sport mode. If it's wet out, I'll put it in cruise mode. If I'm towing something, I can put it in economy mode. If I'm on the highway and I don't have anyone in the car with me, I'll put it in HIKEIT mode. So being able to fine tune is a very nice feature. Right now I'm in sport mode 3. So it's an aggressive map from the instant you push down on the pedal to wide open throttle. So it's definitely got a nice, well, as it says, sporty feel to it. I don't go above 3 because then I'm going to be spinning tires more frequently at green lights, especially if the road is wet. So I really like this one when it's just nice weather like this right now. Cruise mode, level 4, is what I use if the weather is wet out, or if I want a smoother drive between shifting because maybe I have some things in the trunk or my girlfriend's in the car with me. It's also good if you are a stick driver and you're trying to get used to the HIKEIT and you're spinning tires at green lights. I recommend using cruise mode because the initial acceleration when you push down on the pedal will be very similar to stock with less lag, and then as soon as you start pushing down on the pedal more, maybe like 15 to 20%, it'll actually ramp up the acceleration a little bit. It won't be quite like sport mode, but it'll be better than stock. Okay, so now I'm in automatic mode, which as its name implies, it's going to automatically adjust to the situation. But it's actually a pretty aggressive little map. I like it a lot because I don't have to worry about tire spinning at the green lights, but it has a nice punch to it when you push down on the pedal. Again, no idea how it works, but everyone I've talked to so far has said that they like automatic mode, and I actually agree. I like automatic mode as well. Economy mode, so you can hear me pushing down on the pedal and it's not really moving very fast. This will be really good if you're trying to save gas or if you're towing something, which you're not really supposed to do with the TC, but I've been guilty of towing a trailer to the junkyard. I almost ended up towing a shed to my friend's house yesterday. My quick tip is to leave it at level 1. That way when you're flipping through the different modes and you hit economy mode, your pedal isn't all of a sudden like crippled. If you leave it at level 9 and then you cycle through and hit it, all of a sudden you're going to feel like you need to smash that pedal down to move. So just leave it at 1. The last mode is HIKEIT mode or race mode. And if you haven't touched the mode button for about 5 seconds, it's going to go right into HIKEIT mode at the level that you last set it to automatically. So this is perfect if you're trying to overtake someone on the highway. So I'm still in economy mode. I'm just going to push the mode button once to go into HIKEIT mode. It's basically like the sport map, except more aggressive. Right off the bat, as soon as you press down on the pedal, the car wants to move. In fact, it's a little too aggressive with the Orange Virus tuner and driving a stick shift that I reserved for level 9 for overtaking only. Now, I could run it in level 1 and do some daily driving with it, but if I got used to driving it like that with the sensitivity of the pedal, as soon as they switch it to any other mode except for maybe sport mode, I'd probably stall out at the first green light. Now, before I finish off my video, I did go ahead and ask a couple of people to give me their own reviews, because when I was talking about buying this, a bunch of people jumped on the bandwagon. So I'm going to show you a review for someone with an Orange Virus tuner with an automatic transmission, and 2 people with stock ECUs, one with an automatic and one with a manual transmission. So hopefully that'll help you out so that you get an idea how the HIKEIT is going to interact with your car.
Hey, how's it going, guys? This is Ryan Batsel and welcome to my review of the HIKEIT X9 throttle controller. First up is HIKEIT mode. And now sport mode. And this is me taking off in eco mode. Okay, so we're in eco mode right now, intensity setting 9, and this is what it kind of feels like to drive. It's a very delayed throttle curve. Still though, you're gonna save a lot of gas in this mode, and honestly, if you got a nicely like an exhaust like I do, I find it helpful to drive in this mode when you're driving around police. They won't draw attention to your car because the throttle curve's so slow and that it doesn't rev up so high. So if you're trying to hide from police, keep it on eco. Alright, still in eco mode here. I'm actually at eco mode, intensity setting 0. So I'm showing you the highest setting and then the lowest setting. And I'll give you like a middle. Okay, so now giving it a little pull. It's still that little delay, but it's like a perfect amount of delay. In my opinion, I would drive on eco maybe 0 to 2 or 3, realistically. 9 9 is a little bit too much for me. But, you know, saving some gas and keep those revs down to keep away from the prying eyes of police. All right, so on Eco 5 now, hitting the gas. Actually, you know what? Eco 5 is a good middle. 9 was way too intense, and the lower one was, you don't really notice that much. But on 5, it's a really good middle ground, and honestly, I kind of like it. All right, we're on HIKEIT mode right now. Intensity setting 9, and this is what it feels like to do a pull in the car. So as you can tell, it's very touchy. Very fun to drive, but it's very, very touchy. You know, it's 45 here, so I'm not going too fast, but I feel like this would be very useful at the track, or you're on a racetrack, you know, trying to get those autocross and stuff. You know, be very helpful there, but, you know, just driving down the street in the middle of the day, probably not the best idea. You'll draw a lot of attention, and also it's really bad for your gas. So I'll give you an example of me driving on HIKEIT setting 0 now. All right, so now we're on HIKEIT setting 0, and this is what the pulls sound like when you're, let me take a left here real quick. So HIKEIT 0, this is what the pulls sound like. And here we go. So right off the bat, you still have that throttle curve of the HIKEIT mode, which I do like. However, it's more relaxed than HIKEIT setting 9, which is very touchy. I would probably use this more on the road, realistically. Obviously, HIKEIT setting 9, you're gonna not want to drive that around in traffic. It's more for the track and stuff. You know, HIKEIT setting 0, I can see myself driving in traffic with HIKEIT setting 0. Definitely. All right, here we go. This is HIKEIT setting 5. I'm giving you the high, HIKEIT setting 9, the low one, HIKEIT setting 0, and now here we're on HIKEIT setting 5. This will give you the middle ground. All right, so here's a little pull. So you definitely have a little bit more acceleration. The touchiness level is up, but it's not at the level where it was at HIKEIT setting 9, obviously. It's a little bit more relaxed, but not as relaxed as 0. I actually do kind of like this. I don't know if I'd drive it in traffic though, so it's still a little bit touchy. You know, I was actually driving around on HIKEIT setting 9, looking like an idiot driving around there, jolting around. So, you know, I would probably drive in traffic up to level 3 or 4. Okay, we're on sports setting right now. I'm on the intensity level 9. Let's give it a shot. All right, so you definitely see that good intense throttle curve that I like for a sports setting, but it's not as touchy as the HIKEIT setting. And also when you rev it up a lot, I feel like it's not gonna give you that the straight up throttle curve. It's gonna come up and then kind of give it off a little bit. Not too much, but just a little bit, because it's you know, it's not track mode. It's more like a sport plus mode. But we're on level 9 right now, and you know, the touchiness level is pretty responsive. You know, it's not at the level where it's too responsive like on HIKEIT. So I could definitely drive this around in traffic and still have some fun. Let's give level 0 a try. Okay, we're on setting 0 right now. Let's give it a shot. All right, so you definitely notice it's kind of the same, obviously the same throttle curve. It's a sport setting, but of course the throttle timing is not as fast. The responsiveness is a little bit slower. You know, throttle kicks in a little bit slower, but very minute. But yeah, so I could definitely, obviously, drive this around in traffic. Sport mode would be very fun. Personally, for me, I would like a little bit more touchiness. The 0 is a little bit too low for me. All right, we're at intensity level 5 now for the sports setting, and let's give it a shot. That's more like it, right? The 9 one is actually pretty nice, but the 5 is a good middle ground, honestly. You know, it's obviously, like, it's a 5 is going to be in the middle, not as touchy as level 9, but not as slowed as level 0. This is a really good one, honestly. This is probably one of my favorite settings right now. Level 5 sport. It's just good for driving around, you know, having a good joyride. Just driving around town, windows down, a good time. I would go for sport level 5. So a little bit of feedback on how the device operates itself. You've got only 3 buttons, so it's not really hard to mess up. one mode button and two arrow buttons. Obviously to change the intensity. And right now, that's Sport 5, man. That's Sport 5. Anyways, the mode changing is very easy. You won't get lost in the modes. If you go past one real quick, it's very easy to go back through. There's not like 20 different modes. There's like just a couple. I think there's like 8. Very easy to switch through them, and once you're in them, it's very easy to change the intensity. Very easy to use device, and very easy to install too. I showed you how to do that. It took me like 5 to 10 minutes to install, really. I definitely recommend buying this. You can get it for very cheap. I sure did. And yeah, I definitely would recommend going for it. Shout out Derek HIKEIT, man, posting this on his channel. Go link to my channel. It'll be posted on Ryan Batsel. And yeah, go from there, man.
Got the new HIKEIT throttle controller installed. Gonna take it for a test drive just to see how this thing works. I've currently got it off. I've got it mounted up nicely, and it's on a mount that Derek HIKEIT printed. Thank you, Derek. All right, I'm gonna put it into auto for the first time. Here's auto. Oh, okay, alright. Well, that definitely kicks in a lot quicker than I'm used to. Between the point of you hitting the pedal and the RPMs going up and everything kicking in, it's just quicker. It does what it says it's supposed to do. I'll definitely give it that. Eco, not really gonna mess with Eco. Who needs that? Yeah, like as soon as I touch the pedal, it's like it's moving. No delay. As soon as I hit the pedal, it's ready to go on 9. I like auto. Auto, I feel like I know auto is supposed to actually learn a little bit too based on your driving style. It's tamer, so for me that's just a little bit maybe a little bit more predictable, although if you're ready for it, you could say 9 is predictable as well. But it's nice. I'm glad I added this for sure. I feel like it kind of brings everything in together. Before I was using it, I just thought that's the way my car was. I thought that it just took a while for it to get into those higher RPMs sometimes, and then I really had to kind of slam on it to get up there. But I feel like what this does, and this is what other reviews are saying too, and this is what HIKEIT says as well, is it just unlocks the potential of your car better. I think your car has that capability, but you're just not able to see it with the stock settings. And with this controller in it, it definitely unlocks that a little bit. I can definitely say that you can fine-tune it the way you want it. If you want it extra responsive, you want it to go right up as soon as you tap the pedal, then you've got the setting for that. And if you want it to be a little bit more gradual, you've got the setting for that too, without the delay that you might have when it's off or in stock mode. So definitely glad I purchased this. Very happy with the purchase. And so yeah, that's the HIKEIT throttle controller on a 2011 Scion tC. And yeah, try it out. It's worth it.
First of all, I'll just start it with it off. Okay, so this is how it revs, Alright, now I'll switch it to high. Look at the difference. It's faster. It feels like you got the that lightweight crank pulley, you know how it revs faster. This is the Eco. Look at the difference. And that's me like stepping on it. So you can tell the difference. No, here's a cruise. Like I said, for cruise, for me, you know, it feels like, you know, if you just had the controller off. And did I do sport mode? I think so. So the best one is the high. I use the sport so I could be able to do launch control better. So I definitely recommend it. I've been using it on sport mode level 1, and just because it's hard to launch whenever you got it on high, but it's a really great device. You can tell the difference, you really can. If you're automatic, I'm sure it's easier for launching than manual, because you know, you just step on the gas and go. But for manual, yeah, it takes kind of practice. I'm still, you know, trying it out, and I play with the settings every now and then. Usually when I'm in the highway, I sometimes put it on high, and then I'll go up levels and I can see accelerating real quick, and I'm barely tapping on the gas, you know. Cruising for me, it kind of felt like it was just off, like the throttle controller was off, and you know, it's just a regular pedal. Eco is definitely good. I'm sure if you low on gas, I did it one time just to get to the gas station, and surprisingly, you know, it does well, but you feel like you're really slow. So overall, the controller is great, and like I said, it's one of those things that you really won't know until you try it yourself.
I hope those other reviews were insightful. If you haven't hit subscribe to my channel yet, please do so now. And as always, thank you for watching.